Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, there is not a single representative in Congress who does not want to lift Americans out of poverty and help their communities thrive. Many of us are from or represent poor rural areas and have championed proposals to ensure everyone has access to the same opportunities, regardless of their zip code. We would be naive to think economic disparity doesn't exist here in America. In fact, it's gotten worse under the Biden administration's and congressional Democrats' failed proposals. Inflation is out of control, with prices increasing over 13.3% from January 2021 to June 2022. I was a kid in the Carter administration the last time we saw inflation anywhere close to this, and if you remember back then, interest rates were double digit as well. Is that where we're headed? According to data compiled by the Joint Economic Committee, even if prices stop increasing altogether, the inflation that has already occurred will cost the average American household $8,616 over the next 12 months. In my home state of Arkansas, monthly costs for families have risen $577. Arizonans will pay an additional $807 a month. In states where the chairman has held roundtables on this legislation, on the low end, inflation is costing Louisianans $649 a month. Californians are paying an additional $791 a month. Americans are feeling the consequences, with polls showing 82% of Americans are concerned about rising energy prices. With 3 committee markups held this month, you'd think we would put aside our differences at least once to find ways to address any of these crises facing Americans. Instead, we're debating another bill that doesn't just ignore these crises, but will make them worse. Let me repeat that. This bill will make the problem worse. This bill pretends to care about the disadvantaged, but it actually just kicks them while they're down. Convoluted, hard-to-decipher NEPA regulations already make it difficult for rural and low-income communities to get critical infrastructure projects completed. Now, H.R. 2021 creates more regulations on everything from minerals to hygiene products. It proposes new, duplicative, and onerous requirements on just about every project with a federal nexus, and would disincentivize economic development that creates jobs, improves quality of life, and provides economic mobility. In short, in the name of environmental justice, this legislation promotes poverty. A 2015 study found 33% of U.S. households face some sort of energy poverty. For some, that means unaffordable energy bills, living in fear their utilities will be turned off or they won't be able to afford gas to get to work. For others, it means giving up necessities like food and medicine or keeping their home at an unhealthy temperature. Now, the price of fuel is nearly double what it was in 2015. The fact that this committee has done nothing, zero, to lower energy prices is unconscionable. We have the power to help families struggling with energy poverty. We should work together to advance an all-of-the-above energy strategy, develop America's conventional and renewable energy resources, and produce cleaner, cheaper, and more reliable energy right here at home, providing jobs for Americans, good-paying jobs, instead of exporting wealth and jobs overseas. Instead, this bill would grind American energy production to a halt, creating a new regulatory scheme, binding energy innovation and red tape, and making us more reliant on federal nations or foreign nations to meet our energy needs. Businesses will shutter, jobs will be lost, and economic opportunity will disappear from the communities who need it the most. In the end, American consumers are the ones who will pay the price. Sky-high energy costs aren't the only way this legislation will hurt communities. Many Democrats on this committee have heralded the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act as a bill that will help America build into the future. Unfortunately, if H.R. 2021 were enacted into law, rather than building the future, it would leave disadvantaged communities stuck in the past. Instead of repairing legacy infrastructure or building more efficient transportation networks, reliable electricity grids, new hospitals or schools, this bill will ensure infrastructure funds are spent on mountainous volumes of paperwork, endless bureaucracy, and litigation. If this majority was serious about helping disadvantaged communities, we would advance bills like Representative Hearn's Energy Poverty Prevention and Accountability Act, which would require the Department of the Interior to investigate barriers to the ability of at-risk communities to access reliable and affordable energy, or Representative Graves' Builder Act, which would make common sense updates to NEPA to ensure infrastructure funds are spent on project delivery instead of bureaucratic analysis. These are a few of the solutions my colleagues and I have offered that would make life better for all Americans. Again, something this majority has ignored. We have had multiple opportunities to advance meaningful legislation to address the crises facing Americans. Each time, this committee has failed to act. With that, I yield back.
Thank you very much.